Okay, thank you everybody for joining me this afternoon. I hope you're well. I'm Ben Garrett from the International Student Recruitment Team, the Pathway Partnerships team within that at the University of Nottingham. And today I'm going to be presenting to you on a number of things, but primarily how you do your registration as a student at the university. So your online registration, which should be very soon, available to you very soon, and then your in-person registration when you arrive with us in Nottingham. So I'll talk a bit about any final pre-departure, pre-coming to the UK information, when's best to arrive, go through the steps to do your registration, talk a bit about what's available in Welcome Week, attendance and engagement, and then if you're a sponsored student, I have some information about how we support sponsored students and your sponsor when you're here at the university. I've put everybody's cameras and mics off, so if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat and I'll be able to answer them at the end. But do put your questions throughout the presentation and I can get round to them at the end. So I will get started. This talk will be recorded. So if you want to come back to it, maybe when you're getting around to registering, you can revisit it. Or if you've got friends you know that aren't able to attend but think would value this information, you can share it with them. So we'll talk a bit about preparing for Nottingham. So for many of you, if you've been studying at the International College, you've studied in Nottingham, you're now moving across the road to your new home, the university, and that's a photo from a very sunny day outside our Trent building and our lake. So a bit about your pre-departure checklist. So it's now the time of year for you where you're sorting your visa out, your CAS out, making your arrangements. So your priorities, I've listed them down. It's things, make sure you've accepted your offer. And that it's unconditional, so you've met those conditions, you've sorted your accommodation out, all the information to do with your CAS and your visa application are correct, ensuring that you planned your flights and your journey to Nottingham, and then other elements to do with your visa. And then following on through that, which I'll talk about, is your online registration and your appointment for in-person registration. And then shortly, you'll also be getting some information about how you set up your university email address. So if you study at the International College, you'd have had an associate email address, an associate account with an associate card. You'll be getting, it'll be linked to your Nottingham hub. You'll be getting a brand new student email and you can apply for a student card. But that will all be provided to you by the university via email. And the final point, as it says, is get ready for the next step of your great adventure. Bit more, if you've been in the UK, you're aware of things like Google Maps, Trainline, Uber. But if you've not studied in the UK before, these are some good things to have. So when you're arriving, you've got that, you can plan your route. And it's the same here. So things like your travel tickets. So if you've got either landing in Heathrow in London, make sure you've already purchased and planned your route to Nottingham from London in advance, just so when you arrive in the UK, you know your exact plan and you've got that peace of mind. Things related to your fees and deposits. So whilst your visa application is being processed, make sure you're not making tuition fee or accommodation payments because it won't appear on your CAS. I know for a number of you, if you're sponsored, it works slightly differently, and your sponsor will be invoiced directly by the university and not yourself. Tuition fees and accommodation paid separately, but you get that information provided to you. Typically, tuition fees are paid in 3 installments, and there's a list of methods of payment. But if you're a sponsored student, your sponsor is invoiced directly for the year. However, they can pay in 3 installments as well. And I'll touch more on sponsored student support later. When to arrive. So if you are an undergraduate student or a master's student, your school induction will begin on the week commencing Monday, the 21st of September. And this is also when Welcome Week takes place. This is a lot of activities, events, things to do for you as students who are joining the university, help you settle into student life. I know that a number of you have made friends, connections while studying at the International College. And then this is also when you might go and visit your course. You might have a module enrollment, a course enrollment. And then teaching starts the following week on Monday, the 28th of September. But we advise you arrive typically around the 18th and 19th of September this year. With the last date you can register and join the university being Monday, the 12th of October. This might be because there's delays related to your visa or your CAS. That's completely fine, and you've got that period, that window, just to make sure that you can still arrive and be able to study. But yes, typically we recommend ahead of the 21st of September so you can get ready and join in with Welcome Week. So the most important part of this presentation is the online and in-person registrations. This is completely separate to when you registered at the International College if you've already studied in person. So there's two parts to your registration process. Online registration, which is 4 weeks before your start date. So your start date is the 21st of September. So around this week, maybe early next week, you'll be invited to do your online registration. You might have already had information to your personal email address that will be on your Nottingham Hub account with information on how to do this already. In-person registration. So when you arrive at Nottingham and you make it to Nottingham, you need to bring your passport and your boarding pass, or your e-ticket, which includes your date of arrival and your visa decision letter. I'll go into more detail on that shortly. It's just to make sure that you've got the evidence that you've made it to the UK, and that to make sure that everything is in place. Yes, so your visa decision letter if you've applied from within the UK, and the visa and immigration team can answer any questions you may have in the lead up to this. So there's links here that might be clickable right now for you. You may remember setting up your associate account about a year ago. You'll need to follow similar steps relating to your IT account and setting up multi-factor authentication, excuse me, to access your university email account. You'll have an email that contains instructions on how you complete this online registration. You'll need to log into your Nottingham Hub account. So this is what you'll have your 20 ID number, you'll have your password that you created, and then you need to just make sure that on the registration tile, you follow the steps once you've logged into Nottingham Hub to complete your online registration. You'll also get things about setting up your IT account. But remember, this is not related to your associate accounts. This is separate. You get a new student profile, student email, student card when you join and progress with us in the next few weeks. There's a 3-minute video which you can watch in your own time that helps inform you of how to complete your online registration. Again, make sure you've done this as soon as possible before you've arrived in the UK, ideally, but no later than Monday, the 12th of October. And then once you've completed your online registration tasks, you'll receive an email to your university email address this time. So this is what you'll be able to access this to confirm that you've completed this step, and that's usually within 24 hours. So, in-person registration. So you need to have completed your online registration in order to register to do your in-person registration. It can be done at the same time, but it's advised you do online first, out the way, and then focus on your in-person registration. So there's a number of steps related to this. You need to provide your e-visa share code via the linked digital visa status form. And you need to do this in advance of the registration event and prior to your arrival in the UK. When you're completing this Microsoft form, you need to be logged into your university email in order to access it. IT services can be contacted. I can send that link to IT services along with the slides afterwards if you're struggling with any access issues. If you can't link your UKVI account to your eVisa, you can't generate your share code, or you think there's an error, I've put the immigration team's email at the university on the screen. You'll need to quote your 20 Nottingham ID number, and they'll be able to provide you with support. Step 2 is you're booking your in-person registration event appointment. So it depends on when you're arriving. There's a registration event from, I believe it's the 17th or the 18th of September to the 21st. So this will be in our Great Hall. And appointments are open for the first couple of days of this already on the form. And then more and more appointments become available on the form depending on when you're arriving in the UK. So say you're arriving on the 24th, you don't see anything just yet, don't worry. It's just not been opened yet for registration for those dates. So there's a big in-person event at the Great Hall at the university for a few days, and then afterwards you visit the Visa and Immigration Team's office. But as I've said, this will all be provided to you over email as well separately, but it's important that you get this and you're able to access this. So you should be able to click the appointment form. Appointments are now open for those first couple of days. Important note is that when you're at the event and you're doing your in-person registration, that you don't provide your visa or BRP card if you studied at the international college. A current visa for another institution will not prove your right to study at the University of Nottingham. So make sure you've got the correct one that's for the University of Nottingham. Don't send your e-visa share code for another institution. If you've not had a decision on your e-visa for the University of Nottingham, please don't share a code for elsewhere. Make sure it's for Nottingham specifically. If you've submitted a student visa application for the University of Nottingham in the UK and you're still awaiting your visa or the decision, please complete the form that's linked on the screen now. Again, I think I can click it on the screen. You should be able to as well. Make sure you attach the evidence requested to the form. It's just, as it says here, it's important to ensure that you've applied for your visa before you've registered. Again, the immigration support team can answer any questions you may have, and they're very friendly. They provide quick responses. So, booking your appointment. As I've mentioned, this year it's taking place from the 17th to the 21st of September in the Great Hall in the Trent Building on University Park. The visa team have asked if you can aim to book a slot on the 17th or 18th of September. That's if you're arriving before then or around then. If you're arriving after that, more booking slots will become available and appointment slots will become available. It's just asked that if you can make it in time to join this event and be able to register during this event, you've then registered and you've got the entirety of Welcome Week, and it's something you don't need to worry about. But I appreciate that it depends on when you arrive in the UK. You only need to book one appointment. If you do think you need to change it, don't go back to the form and book again. You will get a link in your confirmation email that you will receive. As I've mentioned already, it's ideal and advisable to arrive and complete registration by the 21st of September. However, it's not always possible for various reasons, so don't worry. You've got until the 12th of October, depending on if there's any delays. So if you're arriving on the 22nd of September or later, or there's fully booked slots, the in-person registration, the booking form, further appointments will be released on the 21st of September. So you're not going to miss out. It just means you might have to wait a bit. and the late arrivals webpage. So that has more details and advice on if you're arriving after the start date of your course, if you're arriving into week 1 or 2 of teaching. Um, so there is information and support available to you. Once you've confirmed your in-person registration, you've completed your online registration, you will receive an email to your university email account to confirm that your registration is complete. You can only get things such as accessing your timetable, being able to receive a bank letter, select modules if that's on your course, if you've fully registered. So this is really important that you've done everything related to registration, because then you can do, as I've mentioned, you can then access your timetable and you learn when your classes are. So it's really important you do both steps as soon as you possibly can. And again, there's a web page about in-person registration that can be clicked on the slide. I'll hover it on there. But yes, so I like to reiterate a lot of messages. It's important that you just make sure you do both stages as quickly as possible. So the in-person registration event, it takes place is from the 17th to the 21st of September, is held in the Great Hall, which is in the Trent building on University Park campus. This is one side of the Trent building. This is what it looks like. It's got the clock tower on it. The entrance can be found in a courtyard of the Trent building. You can find this on Google Maps. There'll be signposts when you're on campus, and the entrance to the Great Hall, and then there's signposts. It is through this entrance, and then you turn right and you walk right until you find walk all the way until you see a massive hall. Basically, there'll be people, staff sat at desks, and you turn up. You'll be told where to go. There'll be signposts. So all the information will be there for you. If you can't make the registration event, then your appointment will be here at Cherry Tree Lodge. So you can see the clock tower of Trent building in the background. Cherry Tree Lodge is next to our Students' Union building, the Portland building. And this is where our visa and immigration team is located. So if your appointment's at Cherry Tree Lodge, you'll be asked to report to reception, and then you'll be taken to your appointment. If you are having any issues, if it's related to your IT account or registration, there's a link to the IT service desk on the screen. Hopefully you should be able to click that. If not, it'll be in the slides afterwards. If you're having problems with anything related to registration, the Student Inquiry Centre is there, or the UON's contact page is available to access. And we also have an FAQs page all related to registration. So there's a lot of resource available and support available for you. So if you are feeling a bit stuck or a bit lost, just know that you won't be the only one in this situation. And yes, with the next couple of days, slides recording will be shared. So there's not just registration to consider, there'll be other key activities. So if you've studied at the International College already, you'll most likely registered with the National Health Service or the NHS. You can get consultations with a general practitioner, GP, hospital treatment, contraception services, maternity care, mental health support, medication prescriptions. As part of your student visa application, which hopefully most of you have already started, there is an NHS surcharge. And you have to, in order to access the NHS, you have to register with a doctor. There's more information on the NHS on that link here. But the closest doctor's surgeries to our campuses, so if you're Jubilee Park, Jubilee Campus, University Park, or around the surrounding areas, the University of Nottingham Health Service based in the Cripps Health Centre is your best place. You'll get prompts about this when you've arrived. We also spoke about it in our previous presentation called Get Ready for Nottingham. If you're on Sutton Bonington campus, say for example you're studying biosciences, then you must register with a GP practice close to your Sutton Bonington campus. When you're registering, you're finding a health service, a health practice, registering, Make sure you've got any vaccination records, any information related to disabilities or medical conditions. Um, NHS treatment is always confidential, but having that kind of history and records helps your GP and doctors support you with any health support you may need. It is free to see an NHS doctor, but things like dentistry and eye care there is prescriptions and fees for. Um, and again, opening a bank account, if you've already studied in the UK for the past year, you'll know how to do this. If not, you need to fully registered to then request a bank letter from our student services team. They take a few days to process, but then it means that you can apply for a bank account. You can do this online, or you can visit a branch, things like Barclays, HSBC, Lloyds, NatWest, Monzo, Revolut, Chase. Some online banks, you don't need a bank letter to open an account, but most do. You also need to show an address that they can send a bank card to. Welcome week. So when you arrive at Nottingham, the 21st to the 25th of September is our Welcome Week. And within Welcome Week, there is International Welcome Week. So this is events for all and activities for all international students. Things such as arrival essentials, campus tours, the Global Cafe. It's a great way to meet new people and make new friends. There's some links related to Welcome Week information on the slide. And what I've screenshot is events that are available to international students from the 17th of September. So it could be a campus tour, it'll be the registration event, but these are all for international students. All events that are there for you to help you settle in, feel a part, meet your peers. If you don't really know anybody, don't worry, there's going to be a lot of students in the same position of you. You can visit the library, the Students' Union. There's a whole range of activities for international students. And then I've just put some on the slide here that are events from the 21st of September. So there's a lot to do in your first week. It'll be very busy, but you can pick and choose what you want to attend. There's things to do with the Students' Union involved. There's a lot there for you to access. And then here's some key contacts as well. So if you need student services, there's a link to student services, the university's international office if you've got general queries. If you're in University of Nottingham run accommodation, there's the accommodation team email. And then the visa and immigration support email as well if you've got questions related to that. And then Welcome Week as well. There's a link there. So engagement and attendance. So the university has a system called Seats, which you use to scan a QR code displayed by your lecturer at every lecture you attend. It's primarily used as a welfare tool. So if it's been noticed you haven't engaged with your studies for a while, the wellbeing team will reach out with an offer of support just to make sure, check in that you're okay. If you are on a sponsored student visa, and where I say sponsored student visa, that means you've got a visa to study in the UK that is that the university is the sponsor of your visa. There are monitoring requirements for visa and immigration regulations that are set by the UK government, not just the university. So if you don't attend or engage for 2 consecutive weeks, then the visa and immigration team will reach out to offer advice and support and explain what this means. But further information can be found on the link on the screen. So it is an app that you use. Usually lecturers put up 2 QR codes throughout the lecture. So you scan both and that registers your attendance. It can be at various random times. Yes. This is how to use it. So you download the Seats mobile app from the App Store, log in with your university email address and password. So you might not have that just yet. So it's typically just as you arrive in the UK, make sure you've downloaded Seats. You can then you'll be able to click on the calendar when you've done all your registration and you can see your timetabled session. And then you tap to check in and scan the QR code, or there might be a manual code to enter on the screen, and then it'll let you know that you successfully checked in. But as I've mentioned, it's primarily a welfare tool. It helps. It's like a trigger to see if students need support. But it's also important for international students because you have to show evidence of attending and engaging with your studies. And then here's some just information if you need quick fixes or just some FAQs or inquiries about seats and your attendance engagement in general. Finally, sponsorship expectations. So the other part of my role outside of supporting the CAP partnership and the University of Nottingham International College and supporting newer students, the other part is sponsor relations and sponsored student support. So our team's role. So if you are a sponsored student, it might be a government, it might be a charity, it might be your company, another university. They're funding you to study in the UK. Then our team act as a first point of contact for you as students. So if you've got any queries related to your sponsorship, your engagement, progress reports, or if you need passing on to the relevant team, you've got a specific thing that you need help with or support with, we can make sure we can point you in the right direction. We're first point of contact for your sponsor. So if they have any queries related to your performance, your studies, your attendance, or just in general, that's what we're there for. And we're also the first point of contact for personal tutors and your school and faculty. So if they have queries relating to sponsorship, they need advice on supporting you, they'll come to our team and we will be able to provide advice. For many sponsors, there's progress reporting involved. So I've listed some, such as the Saudi Arabian Cultural Bureau, Kuwait Cultural Office, Qatar Energy, Qatar Embassy, Oman Embassy. There are a few others as well. We provide progress reports twice a year, just after each assessment period. So if this is February and July, your personal tutors complete these progress reports for us. They give us some important information. We also provide your grades that you've achieved throughout the year, copies of provisional transcripts after each assessment period, your attendance percentage. So this is taken from seats, which I've just spoken about. So yeah, we give them information about your attendance. And if you say, for example, you have resits or your sponsor needs to know if you've passed and progressed to the next stage and passed exams, we provide that information. You can contact me and my team on the email on the screen, sponsorship dash assistant. So if you've got any questions related to your sponsorship, we can support. If you need more general information about what we do, how we support with sponsorships, you can click the link at the bottom, International Sponsor Support, and it's got some more information. So a bit of important information because I know that a lot of questions can come up because of this. Where it's related to progress reports, performance, attendance, and anything related to your studies, we have a contractual obligation as a university to provide this. However, if there's things related to your personal circumstances or if you've got information related to you as people that you don't want sharing with your sponsor, then we will not do this. We will only ever do it with your consent. This is because of GDPR and data protection regulations in the UK. And there's a link, and I've put it as a bullet point, information about privacy and what data the university has and can share can be found at the link there about privacy information. Many of you will get a financial guarantee letter or a sponsorship letter. So this is the evidence that the university needs to see that you have your tuition fees or your living fees are being funded. So and means that when it comes to requesting tuition fees, we're sending invoices to your sponsor and not you. We have our finance team, the sponsor billing team, can support with that. So if you just want to send them your sponsor letter, or you've got a question about tuition fees, how it works, they are the team that you can contact. Again, as I've mentioned, if it's things related to your visa, your CAS, registration, please contact the immigration support team. And then the final bullet point I put in bold is, so you are expected to attend and engage with your classes and your studies throughout your time at Nottingham. Many of you, depending on your sponsor, you'll have a contractual obligation between yourself and your sponsor to meet a minimum attendance threshold. Usually it's above 80%, some it's higher for some sponsors, and that's related to your scholarship. So just remember, our team will be providing your sponsor with your attendance percentage twice per year, so February and July, so they will be made aware. Don't worry, this is primarily as I mentioned, it's for welfare support. They can monitor you, make sure you're being supported appropriately. If you're ill or there's an emergency, something comes up, you are allowed authorized absences, as they're called. And the best place to contact is our immigration support team and your personal tutor or your school or your course. They will be able to give you as much information as possible, but you are allowed to take authorized absence, and that won't affect your attendance percentage. So say you miss 2 weeks and it takes you below 80%, that won't be factored into it. So it won't actually take you below 80% attendance because it's authorized. And with that, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I believe my colleague Sun has been answering questions that you may have had throughout the presentation. So I will just see if there's anything more that needs to be answered. Looks like Sun is very much on it. We will be sharing the slides and the recording afterwards with the relevant college services team, and they'll pass it on for you. I think there's a lot of things to do with Nottingham Hub and IT. If you're not able to access your registration tile, it's probably coming in the next few days. If you are struggling with your IT account, there is the IT services team. They can support unlock accounts. So I'll find the IT services website for you. But yes, there is information about registration, FAQs, contact places you can ask about. And Sun very helpfully has already put the link. She's beaten me to it. So I'll just keep reading to see if there's anything else. If there's a bank account tile, contact this email, sponsorship-assistant@Nottingham, or contact your college services team, and they'll then be able to contact the relevant people for you, or you can contact our team. You shouldn't have any tasks, hopefully not, but we can double check this for you. If you don't have any questions and you feel like you're happy with the information provided, please feel free to log off. Thank you for joining. Is Welcome Week mandatory? It's not mandatory. It's advised that if you're able to attend, just do arrive in Nottingham before the 21st of September. But Welcome Week isn't mandatory. So the events I showed, you don't have to go to any of them. The only thing that's mandatory is the online and the in-person registration. So if you feel like it's a bit pressured, don't feel like you have to attend. But yes, please do feel free to log off if you've got all the information. Thank you for joining. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes to answer any more questions.